Hello everyone, in this video, in what I hope will be the first of a series of videos, me and a good friend start to look at the evolution of club cricket in the UK.
I press OK.
I suppose we're recording, John. Hello everybody, you've just seen the intro to the video. This here is my good friend John Ashton. John, I'm not going to go too deep into our history, but basically we played a lot of cricket together, haven't we? We've known each other for a long time, and I was just touching up some maths, and whereas I packed in quite a while ago, you've stayed with club cricket, and I reckon your cricketing career has spanned over 4 decades. Does that make you feel any different? 4 decades.
It just makes me feel old, very old, like every single day that I've been experiencing for the last few years, to be honest. So yeah, thanks for that.
Yeah, it's been some. Yeah, well, I don't know where I got that from, but I thought, yeah, 90s. Remember the 90s, noughties, then the tens, and now we're in 2024. Jeez.
Now, we first started playing under 15s together. I think under 15s together. So
we would have had a handful of games at school, wouldn't we? When we managed to get in, when we both managed to get inside at the same time, and then then we moved into under 17s, didn't we? Good laugh.
I think, as far as I remember, sparing your blushes, but you were captain in one of the years. You captain year 8.
I think I captained one game, and like I forget who we were playing, but we'd already won by about 20 runs, and it was last ball at game, and they hit it for 4. And so we won by about 16 runs, but everyone thought we'd lost, and they walked off like. I said, no, oh yeah, he's hit a 4, but we won like by 15, 16 runs, lads. Come on. Anyway, yeah, thanks for giving me your time. I wanted to just mention tongue in cheek about that 30 odd years and 4 decades stuff, but what we talk a lot about cricket, but I've been out of the club game for a little while, so I just wanted to get your thoughts on quite a few things. See how we get on, but I just wanted to open it up. If you can cast your mind back to now, what would you say is the biggest change in club cricket? Where have you seen the biggest swing?
Oh, that's a big question. I mean, when you think about this, it goes into lots of different aspects of local cricket. I mean, for a start, the wickets have got much better. Wickets are much better nowadays. I mean, there's a lot of grounds that have got lots of legislation attached to it regarding covers, and all wickets in a certain standard have got to have covers. All grounds have got, in a certain standard, have got to have sight screens, score boxes, and things like that. But I'd say from a playing point of view, so just to go through a few things first, really, wickets have improved. There's more batter-friendly wickets. There's no doubt about that. Better technology. Wickets get looked after a lot better, I think, in the season. There's much more facilities and technology to use to enhance wickets and squares nowadays than probably ever before. I mean, I remember as a youngster playing on so many green toppers, it was just crazy. Bit of an experience, really, looking back. Some of the wickets that we used to play on. I mean, I remember me and you playing on some wickets that were 17, 18 yards long. They're not even being measured out properly. But you just wouldn't get that nowadays. Youngsters nowadays, they have big kind of franchises like All Stars that work together to basically introduce youngsters into cricket. I mean, my youngster is only 3, but he can start playing when he's 5. So they do different things. I'll say at my local cricket club, I'll go up there on a Friday night just for a little walk round and just have a steady beer. And there must be about 100 kids on that cricket field. It's fantastic. That didn't happen before. And there's a lot of leagues nowadays that's kind of amalgamated. So our local league, South Yorkshire League, that amalgamated with several other leagues. So Sheffield League, Doncaster League, they all amalgamated. So South Yorkshire League, that's amalgamated in there as well. So it's all one tiered structure.
Why do you think they've had to do that? Sorry for interrupting you, mate. Why have they had to amalgamate?
I think a couple of reasons. I think standards was so much different between certain leagues. So say your old style Doncaster League didn't have to have covers, didn't have to have sight screens, and lots of clubs were wanting to get out of that kind of standard. And South Yorkshire League, professionally led, everything were on internet, all your scores and everything on Play Cricket. Just a bit more professional, really. So they've it brings it all together. I mean, if you look at the way that it's formed in our country, there's still lots of different kinds of leagues. Compare that to Australia, there's not many different leagues. There's, like I say, in Perth where we played, I think there were only 3 different leagues. So you had your WACA, which was your Grade A standard, then you had SMCA, I think it was called, and then Suburban Turf, then 3, and that's it. Whereas in them days, back in this area, there are 15 different leagues. So I think that's a big change. So if you look at the South Yorkshire League now, there's the top tier, which is the old style Yorkshire League, and there's a Premier League, which is underneath that, which is more local. Then it goes down to about Division 11 now. It's crazy. It used to only be down to about Division 3 or 4.
Oh, so there's lots of different things there. Is that just fading in memory? I generally can't remember like youth setups. They were very rare. That back in '90s when we first started as teenagers, very rare there were like any decent youth setups.
Looking back, then in our leagues that we played in, you got 3 or 4 good sides. And then after that, then like pretty average kind of playing abilities that you'll play. A bunch of football lads all getting together for a bit of cricket like over winter, just to keep them fit and keep a bit of atmosphere going. But I think nowadays you'll find that, especially in much lower junior cricket, your under 9s and under 11s, then there's probably more clubs nowadays that are actually competing against each other. But one big change is that a lot of clubs have actually amalgamated with each other. So a couple of clubs that me and you used to play for, like say Parkgate, that folded, couldn't keep on affording to pay players and all that kind of stuff. They folded, and then all those players went on to various other clubs. Avesta, that were quite close by to my old club, Rotherham Phoenix. They also amalgamated with Sheffield United, that then become Sheffield United Phoenix, I think, or something like that. Yeah. And I could probably think about 7 or 8. Webworth and Thorncliffe, they joined together. I could probably think of 7 or 8 different clubs around our area where they amalgamated, and I think a lot of those clubs couldn't afford to keep on going. And I still think that they've got all-stars cricket, they've got all this junior setup at a very young level. But if I was to choose one thing that's really changed, is I still don't think there's enough players in the game at this moment in time in adult cricket.
What teams not been able to put 11 players out, you mean?
Yeah. I mean, I think that's the main reason. There's 2 reasons why clubs have folded or amalgamated. Number 1, money. Can't afford to keep on going because of ground maintenance and things like that. And then number 2, they just can't raise a team. So down at Phoenix, when I played at Phoenix, we were struggling to raise 2 teams. So we decided to amalgamate with Sheffield United. They had 3 teams. So effectively, they had 3 teams, and we had 2 teams. Went down to 3 teams. We went from 5 teams between those 2 clubs to 3 teams. Yeah. And now I think they're only on 2 teams. So even though there's things like All-Stars and there's a real big drive towards getting lots of really young players involved in the game, essentially on a Saturday level cricket, there's a lot of players who are not playing the game that could still be playing.
Does football season still overlap? Does that impact availability?
more so. Yeah, so where I play at the moment, West Breton, then we've got a football team and we've got a cricket team. There's a lot of football lads who will not play during cricket season. You've got some lads who will. Some lads will play football in the morning and then come straight to cricket. Fair play. Even when I were in my 30s, I won't be able to do that. I think I really want to do that. But I think one of the big problems as well that we've got at the moment is that when COVID struck, then quite a few people thought, "Oh, I'm not going to play this season. What's the point in playing COVID cricket? Every 6 overs, you're stopping and you're having a break, and you're out in field for about 4 hours because every 6 overs you're having this break, and then you're out there all day. Can't have a drink with lads because of COVID anyway. I'm not allowed to have a drink in bar."
I didn't
And
know
a
this.
lot of lads then, yeah. So like basically during COVID, you had to like sit apart from each other. You weren't allowed to sit in changing rooms. So you'd have like a bit of a gazebo put up and stuff like that. And you had like a shortened season. It was rubbish, to be honest. Good for batting. Good for batting because you'd bat and you think, right, I get through 6 overs and then I can have a drink. So everyone would have to get freshened up and like basically have like gel put on their hands and things like after 6 overs. But during that time, the batters would be like, yeah, I'll have a drink. And you kind of freshen up. So that batting wise, psychologically, it was quite good, but long games, mate. Long games. And I think a lot of lads, especially younger lads who early 20s, early 30s, they'd be like, why am I even bothering? So they didn't bother playing that season and then just moved on to other things. A lot of lads that I know, they've gone into playing golf instead.
Just didn't come back following season then, when it got back to normal.
Yeah, so season after it got back to normal, and then all of a sudden you've got teams left, right, and centre that's scratching around for players. They've done something at South Yorkshire League and lots of other local leagues where you can loan players. So imagine you're playing for a side and you're like, oh, God, we've got 2 short on a Friday night.
Yeah.
Then you can go and borrow 2 other players from another club. Wow. Loan them for like one game, but it's that's all there just to kind of like keep the game going. Do you know what I mean?
So where does this lead then? I mean, obviously it's a concern. We all struggle to get teams out every now and again. I remember, being 11th, 12th man, sometimes not getting a game. Sometimes being brought along just to score or just to bring drinks out and stuff like that. You wanted to play in it, didn't you? You were grateful to get in 11, but it sounds like I don't know. What is it? Is it? Do you think this is a period of time, or do you think this is sort of clubs are going to continue to cut their rosters down? Teams.
I think there's a couple of problems that we've got at the moment. So at the moment, there's a lot of potential players out there who could do a great job that just think, you know what, I just don't want to give up my Saturday. It's just too long. It's just too long. I mean, I look at my Saturday and I don't play nowhere near as good a standard as what I used to do. I'm not nowhere near as committed as what I used to be. But I have to set off from my house at 11 o'clock. I get there for about 11:20 to 12, and then we're playing at 1 o'clock. And then you play your game, and you know what it's like. It's religion. You got to have a beer after game with lads, haven't you? Got to ask one of the big things.
It is a full day, isn't it? It's a full day. You don't get yeah.
I then get back home at 8:30, 9, and I've not seen my kids all day, so I'm like, and if I've gone out there and got a duck or being shot out, like what we've lost.
You've got to hang around, haven't you, though? It's not like you can just pack up and go, right, I've batted, see you later, lads.
And I think there's one thing, I mean, that there's probably more things to do nowadays than what there was when we were younger. When we were younger, God, I remember 13-year-old going and watching Upper Orth with me, with my dad, and I'd score and I'd have my whites in my car ready.
Yeah.
Hoping that somebody just like pulled their hamstring or something so I could get into the game, or just thinking, I hope some days I had too many beers the night before and they're not in a state to play. I was desperate for it, gagging for it. But nowadays, we've even got scorers asking how much they're going to get paid. We had to outpricing other clubs. Like we pay £25 a game for our scorer. And I know that darting around corner from us, it's a bit cheaper, so we're deliberately outpricing them to get a good scorer.
It's a bit cheaper around corner.
It's
Yeah.
crazy.
But still, 25 quid for somebody. I mean, if you play, I suppose you play because you want to play. Do scorers want to score? Or are they turning up for 25 quid? Because 25 quid to give up what, probably 6, 7, 8 hours of your day, it's not a great deal, is it?
No, I mean, I think, I think really, you're kind of lucky if you get a scorer that's going to be really committed, that really, really loves it. Your best bet, is to find like a parent who's interested, who wants to watch their lad or daughter play,
Yeah.
and just is really interested in game, and they don't really care about getting paid or not. They're just doing it because they're involved. That's how I really lucky, because my dad was really into cricket, and I mean he played until what, 70, 71, I think, and I mean he's still playing now if he could really. But you know, he comes and watches us play. Even me at 46 is coming to watch us play, and he criticises me from boundary like I'm still 70, or something. And if our scorer doesn't turn up, he'll do it. If an umpire doesn't turn up or goes off injured or stuck in traffic, he'll go out there and he'll umpire. You know, he'll put it in because he cares. He cares immensely about game and wants it to be right. And I think those people are few and far between. I think when we talk about how things have changed, when I was a young player aspiring, looking up to people, there were lots of people playing who were our age. Then when I was 15, 14, 15, I used to look up at all these people who are about our age now. And I think, yeah, they're really good players and this and that and that. I look around at most people my age, I'm few and far between, like still playing at my age. And, I do remember playing with 40 odd, 50 odd year olds on a regular basis, second team, first team level.
Yeah. I'm going to say, it sounds like if teams are struggling, are they like old timers? Are they having to stay around a lot longer now? I mean, but what you just said there, maybe they're not. Maybe, if you get to 50, that's it. I was going to ask you, like, what are you seeing? Because I obviously no names and stuff like that, but I know your dad really well. And like I say, he was always willing to do anything around clubs and stuff like that. Played for a long time, and I'm just thinking, are you seeing many 70-year-olds turn out anymore?
Not really, no. I think we've got one lad at our place. I've got one guy at our place who plays for Yorkshire over 60s. I think he's 64. He's in great nick. He can still bowl, turns it a lot. So there's him, and this is a club that's got 3 teams. And then there's one lad who's got a couple of years on me. And then I think I'm third oldest at 46. And looking back to where I grew up and things like that, there were loads more people who were older than me. I think half at first team were probably older than what I am now, even back then in them days. But I do think the game has changed, though. I think there's a lot of things about fitness and fieldings and much more important aspects of the game. Like young fielders, young lads who can throw themselves about a bit and things like that, not afraid to dive on like hard surfaces. I mean, last year I was stood in gully and I dove to one to my left hand side, and honestly I thought my body was just going to break. All my left hip and everything. I could hardly walk for about 4 overs.
I thought you were going to say you dove to your left, but it went to your right then.
I think I dove on the top of it as well, to be honest. But looking back, I can remember loads of older players who played in them days, but I think the attraction of doing more things is definitely out there nowadays. Like I say, for me, I kind of look at cricket, I think, right, what do I want to achieve at this age? Love the idea of playing, love being with lads and winning together and scoring runs is immense.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of downsides, and I think quite a few other people, I think there's just too many downsides, and there's a real emphasis on family time, really, I suppose, nowadays, and spending more time with your family on a weekend. I mean, I suppose this is quite a big society thing, but when I was growing up, 35, 30 years ago, then that's a long time ago. And traditionally speaking, like you'd probably have more males in work than what females were. Whereas nowadays it's probably switched a bit, so you kind of share childcare on a weekend a lot more than ever before, I suppose. That could be one thing.
So are you getting? I mean, you're in education. I don't think that's giving anything away. But do you see anything through what you see? Like, are schools still pushing cricket? Are schools still putting teams on and still like prioritising it over other sports?
It's nothing like it used to be. Absolutely nothing like it used to be. Apart from at private school level, it is. Private school level is absolutely outstanding. We were very lucky, us. We were very, very lucky because we went to a big school and we had a couple of cricket enthusiasts, and there were not as much red tape as what there probably is nowadays, where they'd let us have a net on us own at dinner time. I can remember us just netting without even the teacher being there.
Yeah.
That would never, ever happen now.
Is that like safeguarding and stuff like that?
Oh, yeah. You could never leave a group of kids in a sports hall together playing with hardball and using pads and all that kind of stuff. And, I remember regularly having nets together. And, I think, in the areas that I work in, then, yeah, there's a cricket team, but there's not a cricket team for every year group. And the actual league system around the local area for schools, there's not much one. And I think if I were to say to a few of my lads in school, so look, who do you want to play for? Do you want to play for your school or do you want to play for your club? They'd choose the club because they're getting more games for the club. And so nowadays it's probably more important. Whereas when we were at school, and they'd say, who are you going to play for? We'd be like, play for school. Because that's just what you did. You represented your school, and after you'd played, generally speaking, we'd get a lift over to a cricket match and we'd play cricket straight after. It's not quite like that anymore.
Oh man, I've wrote loads of stuff down here. We didn't know where this chat was going to go, really, do we? We sort of exchanged a couple of ideas over WhatsApp and things like that. But I suppose I need to come back to that bit there. But you mentioned about people packing or finishing earlier, fitness and stuff like that. So I would have imagined your average club player here in 2024 is, I would have said they're probably fitter than the equivalent sort of 20, 30 years ago. So what the demands of the game, are you seeing more the players that do play? Are they committing more to their fitness and their coaching and that sort of thing? Are they more professional within the amateur game?
Well, definitely. I remember when I was young, I was lucky enough to play at some good standards in this local area. And most clubs that I played for, we'd rock up and, we'd rock up at say 12 o'clock and we'll have a chat, get changed while having a chat, having a laugh, go out there, a few throwdowns, hit a few balls back. Some people would go on side at square and ball a few. Can't really remember doing fielding much, really, in many teams that I played for. And this is a decent standard. Then gradually, through time, lots more teams started doing proper warm-ups and lots of fielding and fining people if they were late to fielding practice first. And some clubs then, yeah, really harsh. One of the clubs that I used to play for then, yeah, if you were late to fielding, then on a Thursday night fielding training. So you do Tuesday night in nets, and then on a Thursday night you do fielding training. And that brutal. I used to hate that. I used to absolutely. I've never enjoyed fielding, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
And I'd dread Thursday nights, but you'd have to be there because you're part of the club and you want to win and you want to do well for each other, don't you? That's just what you're part of it together. But I think over time, players have probably become a lot fitter, but they've definitely decided to retire earlier. And I think going back to that, I think a lot of people are just attracted to do other things, and they value their family probably a bit more, and they want to share the load. I mean, so for me, for example, my partner works. Not fair if I'm out all day Saturday playing cricket, then all day Sunday playing cricket, and it's not fair on her. I want to see my lads myself, and it's just, I think back in the day, I remember playing cricket literally like 22 games a season on a Saturday, 22 games a season on a Sunday, and I'd play as much as I could as a youngster. But I remember people my age who would be doing exactly the same, and they had kids.
Midweek as well, I suppose.
Yeah, God, midweek. That's another thing that's changed a lot. I remember growing up. Then Monday night were Rotherham Midweek League, Budget Rent-A-Car League. On a Tuesday night, then I played in Sheffield League, and then on a Wednesday night, Merryweather's Rotherham Midweek League. On a Thursday night, we'd train. On a Friday night, maybe just chill out, have a couple of beers or whatever with lads, and then and we used to make a mistake in going out a bit too much on a Friday night, and then we'd play on a Saturday, and then we'd play and probably have a knockabout with some juniors on a Sunday morning, or umpire, or run a game for under 13s on a Sunday, and then play on a Sunday. So you get like 4, 5, 6 games in sometimes.
Yeah,
crazy.
So I think there's plenty of stuff we could just talk about, and I think maybe for another time I wanted to talk about umpires, standard of umpiring. What are they the 17, 18-year-old coming through? But I think we could certainly have a good chat about that next time we get together. And technology as well. Technology, because I'm really interested in sort of the sort of play cricket, how that's revolutionised sort of scoring and your frog box stuff and all things like that. And I suppose we can have a really good chat about that. I think probably to draw this one to a close, if that's okay with you, mate. This timer up here, and it's like if we look at it in chapters, but there's a lot of everything you said there could mean, like, if people aren't struggling to get a team out, people are packing in sooner. There's other things to do. There's other distractions. That schools aren't really pushing the game anymore. That could be seen quite as though the game's going to fizzle out. Everybody will just focus on probably football or golf or something like that. I want, before I ask you, I mean, I'll tell you the question first. I was going to ask you, so as we leave this call, I'll just ask you to think about what is the one, like, really thing that you want to champion for cricket moving forward. One, if you wanted to end on a positive, but while I ask you to think about that one, is there more shorter format game on the horizon, do you think? Because we all play 40, 50 overs. We talk about county cricket being too long, test matches not lasting 5 days, the club game. Are we seeing any sort of games being finished earlier, or wanting to play like 20 overs rather than 50?
Right. Some really good points probably to finish off on there. So a few things really, and it hurts me to say this because I love playing the 50 overs in lots of ways, because it's more of a chess match. Yeah. You're getting closer to a test. The closest that you can get in local cricket to a test match, is probably 50 overs. So you don't play much more than that nowadays. I mean, I remember university we used to play 60 overs, and in cricket in Australia we used to play 2-day games. Saturday to Saturday. Don't really do that in this country because weather's just too variable. Yeah. But previous, if you got a score of set 200 in 50 overs, you'd win a lot of games on 200. Not now. Where I play, you need 260, 270 to have a good chance. If you get 200, you're walking off and you're absolutely gutted. So that's testament to the way that the game's played nowadays. First 15 overs, you're only allowed 2 people outside square. Yeah. So you have like an inner circle, and there's only 2 people allowed out. So it's like a bit of a power play. That makes a big change. I open batting nowadays because I go for it. Whereas I used to bat at number 4, 5. Makes sense for me to open because I'll go for it. Not very quick or in between wickets anymore because I'm old.
Smash
so
it.
finding boundaries. So like that's changed a lot, and I think that's a really good thing. And my personal view, and I hate to say this again, but if we had a new league that was brought in on a Saturday, that was if it was a 20 over league, and I've talked to a couple of my friends about introducing this into the local area, but I think a lot of local umpires and officials in leagues that absolutely hate me. But if we introduce a 20 over league on a Saturday morning, it would absolutely be so popular in the area. You'd have hardly anyone playing normal 50 over cricket on a Saturday afternoon.
But do you know what? I mean, professional players, they play county 4-day cricket in preparation for if they get called up for a test match, don't they? 5 days, 4 or 5 days. But what? It's not like the club cricketers that we know are going to get the practicing, the playing for 50 overs because they might get called up for a 1-day international or anything like that, is it? So what is the point of playing 40 and 50 and maybe 60 overs anymore? And is there really a big decision? It's just me and you talking into it, but where are the barriers? I mean, I'm not going to go too deep into it now, but if that's the future, then how do we get there? Because we can't prevent it, can we? We can't prevent the future. So I mean, it makes sense.
To me, it makes complete sense.
Yeah.
20 overs, it's done in 3 hours, and you start in the morning. Here's another question on that one. Why do all these leagues start at 1 o'clock on a Saturday? Why not start at 11 so then you can get finished earlier? So you start at 11, and if it rains a bit, then you've got a couple of hours then to play with.
Yeah,
you're starting at 1. So you start in some other leagues at 2 o'clock, and you're not getting games in, and you're waiting around. And that goes back to a long time ago when people used to work. A lot more people used to work on a Saturday morning. Not that many people work now on a Saturday morning. No. Honestly, there's just not, is there? So just
that used to be your steel workers and miners, didn't it? Who were on shifts and things like that, or overtime.
Yeah,
the jobs aren't there. Yeah, but it's like that. Yeah, it's now you step back and you look at it and think, what big changes are needed? What big changes are possible? And then you think, yeah, that sounds a good thing. What's in the way? And probably what's in the way is very little. It's just people not willing to change.
Yeah, that's all it is. I mean, if you look, I mean, lots of people now since COVID, they work from home, and a lot of meetings they have online like this. If it wouldn't have been for COVID, this would never have happened. So there's not many benefits to come out of COVID, but this is one benefit: is that people have found another way to communicate, another way to make things work. And if you want more people playing cricket, and we want more people playing to a later age and things like that, I honestly think 2020 is definitely the way forward. And to have Saturday cricket like that.
Maybe we do like the football and do our own breakaway Super League.
On a serious note, it would work. I've been talking to a couple of people about this for a long time now. It would work. And I'm at that age now when I'm thinking, right, I don't want to go out all day and play cricket. I don't want to do that. But if they're only out on a Saturday morning to go and play for 3 hours, 4 hours, no problem at all. And I mean, a lot of people, they finish playing cricket and then they go and play golf instead.
Yeah.
So they start playing golf instead of cricket, and they do that because it's 4 hours, 4 or 5 hours, and you're done. Okay. Whereas cricket, 8-9 hours, it's another day of work, I suppose.
I'm just going to draw this one to a close, man. We're really, really grateful for your time. We'll just hang on a second after the recording. Stop if that's okay with you.
Yeah, no worry.
Yeah, loads to think about. Will you come back for another one?
Yeah, 100%. Good to speak to you, mate.
Yeah, and we've got to organise a drink and we get our other friends involved too. But just last one then. What are you most looking forward to about this season? You're just about to start. What's the number one thing?
I think getting out there, looking at a nice, good wicket, and that feeling of being together with lads. Because I'm not really seeing them much this winter because they've been training 8:30 in Wakefield, which is a good half an hour, 40 minutes drive away from me. So it's not really been logistically possible at my end. So I'm not really seeing them that much. Looking forward to seeing them and having a good time with them. And having some real good competition at times. I love winning. I love competition, and I love it when people start sledging me when I'm batting as well. That's one thing I do like, and that's one thing I've never got bored of as I've been even getting older now. But I'm not looking forward to rocking up on a Sunday morning and not being able to walk. I'm not looking forward to that. Last season, it got to a stage where it taken me a good 2 or 3 days until I could start walking again.
Yeah, I remember that.
This is a bit worrying that, but we'll see. We'll see how all that goes.
Right, brother. I'm going to end it there. Thanks again. Yeah, see you soon.
No worries, mate. Good to speak to you. All right, pal.
Take care.
Take care, mate.
Bye.